Hey, what's going on, guys? It is Shadow bringing you guys round 3 of logos from this past Saturday. Facing a Dofi, I ended up winning the dice roll and chose to go first. I open up with a Lafitte, which is great. Since I am not drawing this first turn, I at least am able to get a search off. Hoping to see a dot Q. Dot Q is what I'm going to want to establish just so that I can get either a Laboon or a Van Auger to start popping all their 4-cost bodies. Luckily, Dofi is all 4 costs, so everything is pretty much in range, even for just Van Auger. So they restack their top 5 and then pass it over to me. I start off with the Lafitte. Obviously, I draw for turn, so this Lafitte is just a plus. And you do see I find a Van Auger, which is perfect because I have the dot Q in hand. So I swing 5 at their life just to poke them, to see exactly what I can get, and they give me a 1k, which is perfectly fine for me. At this point, I pretty much want to dwindle their hand as much as possible, because obviously Dofi can have a pretty big hand. So I pitch my 2k stronger for leader ability. As always, against Dofi, you want to start using your leader ability right away. You don't want to give them any turns with any on plays. Any Jinbei to Law would just hurt you completely. So he swings the Prona into the Lafitte, which I figured was going to happen since it's an easy clear. And here I thought he was going to use his leader ability, swing big, and establish a body from lead swing. But he's going to end up swinging 5, and I'm going to take it anyway because, again, usually as Blackbeard, they try to starve you. So I was going to take whatever I can, and he just plays out a Mihawk from hand. So, which is perfect because I did draw the Van Auger last turn, which he did see, so kind of plays out for me well here. Van Auger -3 to the Mihawk, pop with the dot Q. Also swung at the Perona, so completely board clearing him here. So if he wants to remove even just a dot Q, he needs to swing with his leader to get rid of it. And in doing so, I will draw a card, which is just beneficial for me. So we're in a pretty good spot here, to be honest with you. And the Dofi is unsure how to go about it. At the locals, there's not many people that play Blackbeard, so when someone plays Blackbeard, it kind of throws them for a loop. So, although Dofi has the better matchup, if you don't know, how to play into Blackbeard, it's a pretty difficult time. Even though as Dofi, all you really want to do is go wide to be able to just poke and swing at everything. That's typically the game plan. But you do see he clears the dot Q. I take a draw, and I end up getting a finger pistol off of that. So Van Auger -3 to the Jozu puts it in range for finger pistol. So I am able to clear it, and I believe I'm going to establish another dot Q. So far everything is working in my favor here. And then my era begins grabbing a 10 drop. Unfortunately, milling a Laboon, which kind of sucks, but it's okay because again, Van Auger is more beneficial in this matchup because I do get a draw off of his KO. And I do pitch the 10 drop. In this matchup, I don't ever see a point in playing 10 drop. I feel like it's kind of bait. I'd rather just focus on removing the board. So Van Augers to dot Qs is essentially what I want to see. And obviously Burgess. Once my trash is filled just like how it is right now, Burgess can essentially just swing into any of the arrested characters. So he swings 6 at my life, and you do see I trigger another Myra Begins, which is great. And I believe I grabbed the Lafitte over, again, a 10 drop. I don't necessarily find the need of ever playing it. And then he plays out a Gravity Blade on the dot Q and Van Auger, which is the best thing to do on those two because now I am unable to get the draws. But it's okay with me. Me seeing that he wastes a Gravity Blade lets me know I can establish my Burgess and be okay with it, because typically Dofi's run at least 2 grab blades, so the likelihood of him seeing the other one is kind of slim. I do poke for 5. He finally takes that life, and you see I do a Lafitte search, and I do it twice this turn. So finding another dot Q, because I believe the one he bottom decked was the only one I had in that moment. So being able to find the pieces I need with 2 Lafittes is a pretty good situation here, and then obviously a Burgess, which is an 8k currently, I believe 1 card away from being a 9. But with only having his leader on the board here, you know, these Lafitte's, even if he swings at 1, I'm still going to get a search off the next turn. So I'm in a pretty good spot here. And this is where Grab Blade kind of, it's a great card. Obviously got rid of the Van Auger and the dot Q to kind of get rid of what I was using to clear board. But it put him back in the aspect of now he's got no bodies on the field. And again, with Dofi, you do want to go wide as possible, even playing out your Sengokus and Peronas just to have those little bodies on the field to get rid of my Lafitte's. So I'm taking full advantage of my opponent not having any of these cards on the field. So you do see he's trying to math it out here. And I believe this turn he's going to play out a double pudding just to kind of have bodies on the field. Well, he was contemplating on doing leader ability to test it out, but you do see he's rereading Lafitte, and this is where he just thought it was worth it just to swing 5k into the Lafitte, which I agree with. If he would have just swung 7 to leader, I would have taken it, got a card from there, and then double searched Lafitte next turn, and I would have been up essentially 4 cards, obviously draw for turn, and then the 2 Lafittes and the 1 from life. So very good to swing at the Lafitte for him there, and then establishes the double pudding. And I do use the Tempest Kick to reduce one of the puddings to 1 and then dot Q to pop it. Again, this is why I love the Tempest Kicks to -3 any card and draw. So it filters itself back into my hand, or it replaces itself in my hand, and it fills my trash up for Burgess. So I do swing a Burgess before my leader because if there's a Red Rock or Gravity Blade trigger, it would have gone and just wouldn't have been able to use it at all. So swing with that first, swing with lead, and then I do a Lafitte search. And I believe I find another Lafitte. Oh no, Van Auger, which is perfect because again, the Van Auger dot Q combo is going to go nasty here. But I do establish another, Lafitte and Burgess. So again, we're at the point where this pudding needs to basically swing into the dot Q or the Lafitte, and same thing with leader. Unless he just decides to pressure my lead at this point, because if not, I'm pretty much set to be able to remove everything and also apply so much pressure with Burgess to his leader, because I believe both of them are currently sitting at a 9k, and that's 9k without any Dawn investment, which why people say this card needs to be banned, I don't agree with it, because this is basically what makes Blackbeard what it is. But yeah, obviously you see no stage, which I typically want to have in any other matchup. Dofi, it's too fast, and you lose a card from stage since you obviously play itself out, and then you start chucking to be able to search. You just kind of have to rely on hoping that you find your Lafitte's to be able to find your pieces, because you're kind of going up a card once you establish it. It replaces itself the first turn. If it sticks, then you're up a card. So, which is where we're at, because we're at the point where he's got to decide and choose what he wants to swing at. And I believe he's going to swing 7k at my leader. He was contemplating on swinging at the Burgess, and I let him know that it was sitting at a 9k stat line right now, so I think he's going to opt to not swing at it. Yeah, so he attaches 4, and he's going to swing 8 at my leader. I take it. I believe that was a Tempest Kick, and I was about to trigger it, but it can only KO a 3. So I decided not to take it. Or not trigger, because it wouldn't have done anything. And then he swings 7 with his leader. I take that as well. What would have been a little better was to swing 7 with the pudding, 7 with his leader, using his leader ability to try to see if he can get a body off and then still establish the Jinbei. But not doing it that way. You see I Tempest Kick the Jinbei, KO with the dot Q. At this point, I would have swung Burgess into the rested character that he just played out if he hits with his leader ability. But not doing that is just going to allow me to just put more pressure onto his leader. And I could have potentially went for game here, but I'm just playing it safe, removing the field, and then going to poke at life with the Burgess. But before that, I'm going to search with both Lafitte's to essentially find counter or anything else that I can use. And you see I do grab a dot Q, and I think the next search I'm going to find a stage, which I'm going to use to chuck for leader ability to get the Burgess to 10k. Yep, so there's stage, and I'm going to throw it for leader ability. So again, gives that plus 1k to Burgess, now making it a 10k, and allowing me to just swing with no Don. And this is where, again, I'm saying I could have probably went for game, but I chose not to. I left the 5 Don up for a Van Auger, just in case he does decide to go wide. Even if he does, that's more counters out of his hand, and it allows me to go for lethal. But even then, it's a 6k body. It's stronger than the Lafitte, and 1 Don on it, it's still going to ask him to give me 2 cards. So at least it's there for pressure as well. And at this point, the Dofi's, I pretty much have the Dofi where I want it to be. No cards on the field. Even if he decides to swing 15k with his leader to my lead, it will put me down to 0 card or 0 life. But next turn is, I'm going to have to go all in regardless. And I'm sitting good. Burgess are both at 10k. Van Auger's a 6. And then I have 10 Don to invest in every single one of these swings as well. So UDC, he swings 8 to my leader. Plays out the Mihawk from the top of life using his leader ability. And then Red Rocks one of the Burgess. Oh, it's okay though, because reason why I countered out is so I can Van Auger .Q the Mihawk. And in case I am unable to go for lethal this turn, I will have 1 life left, so he will be unable to use Perfume if I do block her up. So you do see the Van Auger .Q on the Mihawk. I do this just to play it safe. Use a Lafitte, end up finding a Vasco shot, so it gives me a little blocker. And I pitch the finger pistol for leader ability, now making that Burgess, I believe, an 11k. 1, 2, 3. Yep, it's an 11k, which goes through. And here, I should have put all the Don on my leader and swung, and it would have connected for game. Instead, I end up just swinging 13, and I leave 2 up for a Vasco shot, which I'm going to play out. Pass turn, and my opponent realizes that no matter what he does, he's not going to get through and just concedes. So as always, if you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment down below what you guys thought of the match, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.